The arrow pierced through his shoulder, but Veer Singh didn't scream. He couldn't. Not when his 5-year-old daughter was hiding just 20 feet away, watching her father bleed. This is the story of one warrior from ancient Bengal, a story that history forgot, but one that deserves to be told. The year was 835 AD. While Viking raiders were burning villages across Europe, something completely different was happening on the other side of the world. In Bengal, under the Pala Empire, civilization was flourishing. Universities were full, temples were being built, trade ships were sailing to distant lands. But empires don't stay peaceful forever. Our story begins in a small village called Vikrampur, near the banks of the mighty Brahmaputra River. This is where Veer Singh lived with his wife Madhavi and their daughter Priya. Veer wasn't a nobleman. He wasn't a general. He was just a regular soldier in Emperor Devapala's army. He had served for 15 years, fought in 3 major battles, and now, at age 38, he just wanted to retire and become a farmer. He had 1 more year of service left, just 1 more year. It was early morning when the messenger arrived. Veer was teaching little Priya how to write her name in the sand when he heard the horse galloping toward his house. The message was simple and terrifying. Rebel forces from Kamarupa, the region we now call Assam, had broken their treaty with the Pala Empire. They were moving south, burning everything in their path. They would reach Vikrampur in 3 days. Most of the emperor's army was away, fighting on the western borders. The village had just 40 trained soldiers. Veer Singh was the most experienced among them. The village chief looked at Veer with desperate eyes. "Can we hold them?" Veer looked at his daughter playing in the distance. He looked at the 100 families in the village, old people, children, mothers. He knew the rebels numbered in the thousands. "We have to," he said quietly. That night, Veer gathered the 40 soldiers. Most of them were young, barely out of training. Some were even teenagers. They all knew the odds. They all knew what was coming. "We can't beat them in open battle. There are too many. But we don't need to beat them. We just need to slow them down. The Emperor's forces are 5 days away. If we can hold the rebels for 3 days, help will arrive." One young soldier named Arjun raised his hand. His voice was shaking. "How do we fight thousands with just 40 men?" Veer smiled grimly. "We don't fight them as 40 men. We fight them as 40 ghosts." This is where the story gets interesting, because what Veer Singh did next would be remembered in that region for generations. The rebels arrived on the 3rd day, just as predicted, but they didn't find a village ready to surrender. Instead, they found a forest. Veer and the villagers had spent 3 days turning the forest path into a death trap. Hidden pits covered with leaves, ropes stretched between trees at neck height, sharpened bamboo stakes hidden in the tall grass. The first 100 rebel soldiers entered the forest confidently. They never came out. The rebels heard screams. They heard the sounds of men falling, crashing, dying, but they couldn't see their enemy. Veer and his 40 men were moving through the trees like shadows, striking and disappearing before anyone could react. By sunset on the first day, the rebels had lost 300 men and hadn't even reached the village yet. Their commander was furious, but he was also scared. What kind of warriors could do this? The second night was when everything changed. The rebel commander decided to burn the entire forest down. If he couldn't see his enemies, he would smoke them out. Vir saw the fire starting from multiple directions. He had a choice to make: pull back to the village and make a last stand there where his family was, or push forward, attack the rebels head-on in a suicide mission to buy more time. He chose the second option. "Tonight, we make them remember us," he told his men. What happened that night became legendary. 40 men, covered in mud and darkness, infiltrated the rebel camp of thousands. They weren't trying to win. They were trying to create chaos, fear, confusion. They poisoned water supplies. They cut tent ropes. They set fire to weapon stores. They killed sentries silently. They made sounds that mimicked tiger roars. They left behind messages written in blood: "Turn back or die." By morning, the rebel army was exhausted, paranoid, and had lost another 200 men to accidents, panic, and Vir's warriors. But now, Vir had lost 15 of his own men. Only 25 remained. The third day was the final day. The rebels, now completely enraged, surrounded the village from all sides. There was nowhere left to run, no more forest to hide in, no more tricks to play. Vir gathered the remaining villagers in the central temple. His wife Madhavi was there, holding Priya tight. She knew what was about to happen. "Take everyone to the river," Vir told her. "There are boats hidden in the reeds. When you hear the battle horn 3 times, run. Don't look back." Madhavi's eyes filled with tears. "Come with us, please." She touched her face gently. "If I come with you, they'll chase you. Someone has to hold them here." The final battle began at noon. 25 warriors stood at the village entrance. Facing them were thousands of rebel soldiers, angry and ready for revenge. Vir Singh stood in the center, his sword raised high. The rebels charged like a tsunami of steel and rage. What happened next lasted only 2 hours, but those who survived said it felt like days. Vir and his men fought, not like humans, but like demons protecting the gates of hell. Every swing of Vir's sword dropped a rebel. Every step back was paid with blood. An arrow struck Vir's shoulder. He broke it off and kept fighting. A steer grazed his leg. He didn't slow down. A sword cut across his chest. He smiled through the pain. One by one, his men fell, but not before taking down 10 enemies each, 20 enemies. Some took down 30 before their bodies gave out. Finally, only Vir Singh remained standing. His body was covered in wounds. He could barely see through the blood running down his face. His arm with sword felt like 1,000 pounds, but he was still alive, and he was still standing. The rebel commander stepped forward. "You should have surrendered, old man. You and your men died for nothing." Vir smiled, showing blood-stained teeth. "Did we?" And then he blew the horn. Once, twice, 3 times, the signal for the villagers to escape. The rebel commander's eyes widened as he realized he'd been tricked. These warriors hadn't been trying to win. They'd been buying time. He screamed orders to chase the villagers, but it was too late. Vir collapsed to his knees, his strength finally gone. But he was still smiling, because across the river he could see boats disappearing into the mist. His family was safe.